What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Cjthecheesedj here, and we are back with another Ark news video for you guys today. And today, guys, we've just been given the confirmation of the two new TLC dinos, the dinos that are receiving the TLC. And to be honest with you, I'm really disappointed. I wouldn't have picked it to be the Mammoth and the Stego. We did know it was the Mammoth a few weeks ago, but the second creature is the Stego, and honestly, I'm pretty disappointed. Nonetheless, we're going to be going over the new abilities that they are all getting as well. So let's go over the Mammoth first. We found out the Mammoth was getting a TLC, I think, last week, but we didn't have any indication as to its abilities or anything like that. So, yeah, you can see here he's gotten a new War Drum saddle and buff. So you can see it on the back of this one here. There's a dude beating the drum where you've got this guy sitting here on like the main saddle. So this would be like a secondary seat. And this actually, when the drum is played, you maintain an area of effect buff that improves stamina regen and makes your mammoths immune to fear. So I don't know why they would really need that for, unless you plan on taking them up against like Uties, because Uties are the only things that will fear rule you. Like, that's it. So yeah, if you're wandering in the snow with a mammoth, sure, I can see how that would help. But if you're not wandering in the mammoth, whatever, like, it is what it is. It's got 4 new attacks, which I'm pretty keen for like 2 of these, but like I rarely see people using mammoths. Rarely seen people use mammoths. I guess the point of them is to try and get people to make them use more, but based off this TLC, I don't see how people are going to use mammoths more. I don't know. That's just my opinion. So the new attacks, we got a tusk sweep. Sweeps tusks left or right to gather and harvest thatch. So he's going to swing their heads, very similar to one of the moves that they have at the moment. But it looks like these are going to be very concise and with what they harvest. So the secondary attack is a trumpet, which emits a trunk roar that does an area of effect debuff to all enemies within range. We don't know what the debuff is just yet, but when the TLC drops, obviously we'll be the first to get the video out to you guys on them. The next attack is a foot stomp. So Mammoth rears up and then puts all of its weight into a forward slam with its front legs to directionally knock back enemies and gather wood. They already have one of these attacks. They have the animation for the attack. It looks like they've just kind of separated the attacks and made them onto different hotkeys, because the tusk sweep and the foot stomp is already a move that the Mammoth does. It just doesn't do this particular thing. The animation is already there. So that looks like that's what this sort of model right here is doing. And then finally, the last move is the trunk grab. So similar to the Karkanos's grab, it is able to grab, hold, and release smaller targets, which is pretty good. That sounds like a good one. Like, that's probably the only ability I'm keen for, because it makes sense. They've got a big ass trunk. It makes sense for them to be able to grab stuff. I wouldn't say they'd be able to grab anything more than a raptor, though. Maybe a Kano? I don't know. I don't think they'd be able to gather much more than that. But moving on, let's go on to the Stego. And yeah, honestly, I wasn't picking the Stego to be one that would receive a TLC buff, to be honest. I'm a little bit disappointed it's the Stego. Nonetheless, we're here now. So the Stego will be seeing visual upgrades and expanded toolset that makes it hard to resist. So it's got new abilities, backplates modes, so it can actually change its backplates. So backplate passive buff and can switch between 3 modes. Different modes will be indicated visually. Now that's kind of a cool thing, because you're going to be able to see your plates changing as you go. So the first one is the hardened plated. Applies a damage reduction buff and prevents riders from being dismounted by enemies. Wood harvesting benefit. So I can see this being used for PvP, because you're not going to be able to get dismounted. And as far as I'm aware, they will still have the turret soaking ability. I'm not 100% sure. They haven't actually mentioned that here. I would say so, because it says new abilities. So they would probably retain their abilities that they currently have, and these would just build upon it. So the hardened plated one's going to make them more durable for soaking, because you can't get dismounted as the rider. Heavy plate mode applies a slow when attacking with the basic tail whip. Thatch harvesting benefit. So you're going to be slowing any sort of tames that come up to you, which is relatively decent, because the Stego already does a slight knockback effect to whatever it is that it attacks. So a slow could be helpful for it getting away from any large predators like Rexes or Uties or anything like that. And then it's got the sharpened plate mode, which applies an armor penetration effect when attacking with the tail whip, which is also useful for harvesting berries. So that sounds like it's definitely suited for PvP. So if you get out of your turret range with your hardened plate, and you can switch over to your sharpened plate, and armor penetration a bunch of the players that are trying to kill you. As well as that, it's got new attacks. So it's got an impaling tail whip, which enables it to impale and immobilize players and smaller creatures. So very similar to the Kentro, where I can probably tell you they've just copy and pasted it onto the Stego's tail. You can now impale players, and I'm going to say probably raptors, once again, largest things you could probably impale. You could probably do like direwolves, ravagers, terrorbirds, that sort of stuff. I would say it's not bigger than a raptor though. But yeah, they're the two new TLC dinos. Like I said, I'm a little bit disappointed. I reckon, I don't know, there's a lot of other dinos they could have done. The Megalodon for one. Like, underwater, there's really nothing. We got the Megachelon from Genesis, and that was the newest creature, and like, it just sits underwater and does turtle stuff. I don't know, I reckon the Megalodon definitely could have used a TLC. There is a mod for it that it's able to like jump up onto the beach and eat and stuff like that, and it's got like a thrash ability and stuff. They definitely could have implemented that here more so over a freaking Stego and a Mammoth, to be honest. That's just my opinion though. Let me know what you guys think down below. But we're going to wrap up the video for today, guys. So hopefully you enjoyed this one. If you did, don't forget to leave a like. Subscribe down below for more. But other than that, guys, I'll catch you in the next one.